This is SBR's Football Betting Daily.
What up, football fans? It is Tuesday, November 6th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, which means it is time for the first session of the Audible with myself, Jimmy the Bag, alongside the legend, Donnie Rightside. Donnie, it's week after week after week of smashing. This is a wonderful run I'm on, and I thank you very, very much. I do think that any capper who would get the opportunity to spend 2.5 hours a week breaking down NFL games should show the fruits of the labor, should be rewarded, and I'm being rewarded working with you. In the last 3 weeks, Donnie, I'm 24-10, up 13.2 units, and I tell you what, Donnie, it feels good! It feels really goddamn good, especially after that horrible baseball season. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready for another week of this. I love this show very much. We got a lot of great cappers with us. How you feeling right now, Donnie?
I feel good, man. It's the NFL, and we talk about it. How don't we talk about it, Jimmy? It's almost like, you say, you know what? Let's have this sit down here. Let's talk things through, whether it be a relationship, whether it be in business. The more information that you put out on the table, you can pick apart the pieces there. You have all week to get ready for it. And it's providing the fruits of the labor. Love it, Jimmy. We're winning money. That's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about. What a huge few weeks we all have and everybody on the chat's been having here. Again, just like the last 3 weeks, I have not come with picks. I've stopped doing that. It's better just to break down these games with you and the chat, then marinate over them for 3 days, hammer them again with you and the whale capper, and then get that paper, Donnie. I'm looking forward to get rolling, but why don't we start off with just touching on last night's game? My God, that felt good. I felt like I was 9 guys to every one was against me. I had the Titans. I had the over. I was very confident, and it came through with flying colors. I think we broke it down properly, saying that who's going to be better off a bye, Dak, who's just a game manager, or Mariota, who still has potential to be a good quarterback in this league. And I think he's got more weapons, even though Dallas just added Cooper. What did you think from the Monday Nighter? Are the Cowboys a team in disarray?
Yeah, I mean, disarray might not be the right word, but like a work in progress that's not actually progressing the way you want to, because you have a lot of big money capabilities that are going to be looking at the end of the year. You're going to have to re-sign Dak. Sooner or later, your running back's going to come up. That's going to be a big money position. And you have Amari Cooper that you spent a first-round pick on. But you don't get, Jimmy, that 3 to 4 years at a lower pay scale. He's going to need to be paid immediately as well. So you're 3-5 in the division. The Eagles can put the lights out next week. And then you sort of say, well, okay, let's look forward to next year. But is Dak the guy for your future? Like, is this the team that you want to go moving forward with? How about your coaching staff? You're going to blow that up and start all over again. Not a bright future for me, Jimmy, for the Dallas Cowboys.
Not at all. And what do you see? So, Donnie, you, I think, were the one who nailed it the most. That really got me when you said, was there a turning point? Did the Titans have a turning point in London? And I was like, yes, they did, Donnie. I watched that game, and that was a turning point. And then I hammered them this week. Was that an actual turning point? Are the Titans going to roll towards the playoffs from here on out?
I don't know if they can roll towards the playoffs just because I can't trust their offense to score enough. They're almost in that same caliber to me, Jimmy, offensively. Like when you watch the Washington Redskins, let's get real big, tough, physical. Let's have a quarterback that doesn't really push the football downfield, and we'll see what happens and lean on their defense. I think Houston's probably going to win that division, but I like the fact because when we cap games, Jimmy, you like to take like what happened the previous week. You'd had a completely different outlook of the Tennessee Titans if they had scored from the 1-yard line to beat the Chargers. And then you might say going into this football game, I expect Tennessee to win. We laughed early in the week and said, you know what? 6.5. We think it's not going to be a shootout type game. Why not just lean on the 6.5? And it looks like that was the correct analysis where when you're watching early on, Jimmy, you get a little bit nervous. Dallas goes up 7-0, gets the turnover saying, oh my God, I should have known Dallas is really good at home. I'm an idiot for taking the Tennessee Titans and believing in them. But as we say, Jimmy, it's a long football game, and they played well.
They did play well. I want to move forward with the idea that 2 teams, both off buys, leads to more offense. We have that situation again this week. What do you think? It's a simple, maybe too simple of a breakdown. I just feel like 2 teams off of buys leads to more offense. Am I simplifying things too much?
No, I like it. And it's the way it should be in the NFL. Like, you're all about, contrast. When we talk about the Thursday night football games, sometimes it's not the most clean approach that they take. Why? Because the players aren't practicing. They're all banged up, and you have like 2 days to get ready. When you have 2 full weeks, those coaches are in the room, in the film room, 24/7 for 2 straight weeks saying, how can I dissect this defense, which leads to the team knowing the playbook better, and you can dial up plays that you've dissected for over a week's time frame. You get a much better game plan and much overall better feel when you have the time off to buy. I agree, Jimmy. More time to prepare. Same thing in life. More time to prepare for a football game. More time to prepare for a test or for a job interview. You tend to do it better. Same thing in football.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's get to work. And we wouldn't be able to enjoy this show if it wasn't for our guys in the chat, our cappers in the chat, giving us their great insights, breaking things down with us, adding jokes, making it more fun. Big shout out to Gavin McGowan, Nasty, Nate, Bill Buttlicker, Brian Seymour, Hoops 590, Taylor H., Jason Hunter, Brian Manning, Crazy Rocker, Mikey T 1980, Mitchell Shaggis. We got a great group. Moshe Bograt, Crazy Rocker, Brick City Matthew, D-Tay Duggs. Let's get to work, everybody. God damn, it feels good coming back to this show after 3 real positive weeks. I don't want to rest on the success of last few weeks. I want to focus on finding winners this week, and I'm honored to get to work with you each and every week. Let's start with the Thursday nighter, Panthers at Steelers. We have a Steelers team that's just been 2-2 at home. A Panthers team has only played 3 of their 8 games on the road. I already looked on sportsbookreview.com. They had one section where they had 5 different cappers break down this game. Every single capper was on the Steelers. And I was like, whoa. Really? Everybody just thinks the Steelers are going to take care of business here? Haven't we just seen the Panthers play exceptionally good football against weaker teams than the Steelers, mind you? Let's break this down a little further. Open Steelers -5.5. Now -4, even a couple -3.5. The total opened at 50. It's been going up. You can get it anywhere between 51 and 52. Both teams are rounding into form. Panthers offense is rolling. Newton coming off another great game. 19 for 25, 247 yards, 2 TDs. I'm loving these games from Newton, Donnie, because I just feel like he's playing within himself. He's not trying to do too much. He's not taking risks. His completion percentage is so high. McCaffrey had a nice game. 32 for 179 yards all purpose. Oh, excuse me. That was the whole entire rushing offense. Excuse me. The rushing offense went 32 for 179. Olsen is back playing like he never left. Steelers are coming off a very impressive win at Baltimore. They shut down the Ravens offense. The Ravens only got 204 passing yards, 61 rushing yards. They took advantage of Ronnie Stanley and James Hurst missing off the offensive line for the Ravens. Sean Davis had 9 tackles. Their offense looked great. James Conner ran 24 times for 107 yards. 7 players caught at least 2 passes. We're forgetting all about Le'Veon Bell. What do you think of? I'm so excited to hear your breakdown of this Thursday nighter, Panthers at Steelers, Donnie.
Jimmy, I would have liked it better from the Panthers' perspective if this game was played on a Sunday. I mean, anybody knows me who preaches it's hard to win football games, as we know, just being on the road. It's even harder to be an underdog on the road on a Thursday night game. And we're not talking about 7.5, 14.5 points. We're talking about Carolina getting 4 at this point, basically having to win the football game from what your perspective would be if you're taking the Carolina Panthers. But it looks like the betting public agrees with you, Jimmy, early. 62% of the line going towards Carolina Panthers. Line opens up at 5. Chris now showing a -3.5, -115. So there's a belief that this game is going to be a close football game. And why not? It just tends to be what the Carolina Panthers play. But the one thing I like to look at, the same thing that we were looking with the Green Bay Packers, we say, ooh, Aaron Rodgers, all those weapons, just give me the points in this situation. It's hard to win on the road. If you're looking to take the points and you're not getting more than a touchdown, you're expecting that road team to win. But you have to factor in on what the team's MO is and what they're actually doing on the road on the season. You saw the Green Bay Packers, Jimmy, right? I mean, they got busted up by the Washington Redskins, didn't look good in all their road games, got beat. Look, say what you want. I think they should have beat the Rams, but they didn't beat the Rams. They fumbled and they took the loss in that game. And then they go in and play the New England Patriots. Close game late. They didn't win that football game either. So you don't get, style points in the NFL. It's about wins and losses and covering spreads. I just think this game sets up as a tough spot for the Carolina Panthers. Looking at them on the road already this year, at the Washington Redskins, started really slow. It seems like their MO. Came back 23-17, had a chance to win at the end, didn't do it. Philadelphia, same thing, Jimmy. Get down 17-0, have a miracle comeback in the last couple minutes of the game to pull that one out in a close one. You play well at home, I get that, but their MO being on the road, Jimmy, playing close games and getting that slow start, which takes me to believe when you're trying to get angles here, Why not the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first half? You're probably getting what? Somewhere around a -3. If they tend to start slow on the road, maybe the Steelers pick up quick and they're up a touchdown at the half. And the MO for the Panthers is, let's make a charge at the end of the football game.
Interesting points, absolutely. And with our breakdown 2 weeks ago, I jumped on the Steelers first half against the Browns, and I only got it because of a last-second touchdown there right before the half started. But that was a great breakdown. I hear that Steelers first half might be a very sharp play. Adrian Konechis says Steelers all the way and the over. Crazy Rocker, Steelers. DJ Doug's over. Jay Peach, Steelers the better team here. Ganesh Punt said took over 50 in the Steelers-Panthers yesterday. What do you think about this total? Just before we move forward, Bill Butler says Steelers going to come out and punch the Panthers in the mouth. Panthers have played doo-doo teams. James Conner is the truth and running better than Bell. Carolina secondary has been burnt by speedy wide receivers. A lot of people liking the over, a lot of people liking the Steelers. This total's gone up to at least a point. Some books 2 points. And remember, when I use the opening lines, it will be bet online each time because they are first in the market. What do you think about the total here, Donnie?
You know, it's interesting. When you look at these teams, like the Carolina Panthers really can morph into how you want to play in style. Giants game 31, had some weapons in that game, threw it all over the yard, 33-31. Then you play two of the slower teams in the NFL. Say what you want. The Philadelphia Eagles, you got Carson Wentz and Alshon Jeffrey, but they're not an explosive offense. You play them, Jimmy, 21-17. The Washington Redskins, one of the slowest teams that likes to dink and dunk and play defense. You play that game 23-17. But let's look at about a more team that's has more options on offense. You got Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Fame quarterback. You got big-time wide receivers. You got a good running game, good offensive line. When you look at the Carolina Panthers on the opposite end, same thing. You have a mobile quarterback. So if you have a good pass rush to get after Cam Newton, he can escape out of the pocket and make big plays to those wide receivers. Tampa Bay, 42-28. Baltimore, 36-21. If you have a team that will engage them and push the tempo a little bit like you think the Pittsburgh Steelers will, that's going to lend itself to more of an over than an under. Now, if they're going to play a football team that wants to run it and play close to the vest, Carolina will say that's fine. We'll play it close to the vest as well. With the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the offensive weapons they have, Cam Newton on the other side, probably tends to be more of an over to me, Jimmy, than an under. And it doesn't look like you're going to get that much wind, maybe about 45 degrees, which isn't too bad for Pittsburgh this time of year, and winds under 5 degrees. That's going to help a lot.
That is going to help a lot. We're not going to get a chance to hammer this game again because our next show is on Friday.
Yeah.
We try not to have too many we try to cut down on biases. That's the role of a capper. Cut down on as many biases as possible. We all have them. They all exist. But here, I got so much joy out of going against, it felt like 8 or 9 to 1 yesterday was Cowboys Titans. And I got such joy out of, and I didn't make a big deal about it, but inside it felt very good. And I don't want that to get in the way of my analysis of this game, hearing everybody on the Steelers. What I saw when the Panthers came back against your Eagles was a team that could go all the way. That's how good they looked like. That's how in tune they looked. That's how in control they looked. They weren't panicking down 17-0 against still, the world champion Eagles. I feel like the Panthers can keep this game close. I also think that the Panthers won't want to have a run-and-gun game against the Steelers because the Steelers have too many weapons on the outside and the Panthers' secondary is suspect. My initial feeling is to go against everything here, to take the Panthers and the under, and maybe I'm just getting too excited off of what happened last night. What do you think of it exactly?
No, look, Jimmy, they're really good football teams here, and nobody would ever fault you by saying, because the one thing I don't like, and like I said it before to you, I think the linchpin would have been if you got a full week of preparation to get healthy, get ready, get into your playbook, have plenty of time to travel for Carolina going to Pittsburgh. I think they would be at a better advantage here. But the simple fact that you're flipping over from a Sunday where you played at home, you're going to lose an entire day to travel. These teams really aren't practicing. Cam Newton shows up with whether or not he's injured on his shoulder or not, he's probably not throwing this week. It's such an advantage for the home team who's already there, who doesn't have to travel. They're in front of their home fans. It's tough to go on the road and play in that type of environment, especially as we see now as the home team being the favorite. It's pretty much rolled in these scenarios. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, pretty good home team where maybe Carolina struggles a little bit. You're not going to be able to catch up against the Steelers. They're healthy, rested, and playing really, really good football. And what it all boils down to is you're just asking the Steelers basically to win the football game. What are we looking at, 3.5, 4 points here? It's a tough spot to go in early in the week to play on a Thursday night road game.
let me ask you this, but we need to move on. And I'm sorry, this game is so exciting, and we haven't.
No, it's fine. It's a lot better than the other ones. Yes,
yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like the advantage that the home team that you speak about all the time on the Thursdays lessens as we get through the year? That it's a much bigger advantage early than it is late?
No, opposite, Jimmy. Opposite for me. Because when you're playing early in the season, you haven't been through all those car wrecks, so to speak. So your body's feeling good in September. It's warmer weather. Now you're playing a football game on Sunday. You're already achy and creaky. You can barely even move around till Tuesday. Then you hop on a plane and, oh, yeah, it's going to be in the 40s. So I'm going to be getting hit again in these car wrecks right off the bat on the road. I think it makes it harder as the season goes on, as opposed to the beginning of the season when you're refreshed, you're ready, you're just looking to get to your next game. Now the battle of attrition sets in. I think it's actually harder.
Oh, very interesting. Great breakdown. And a treat for us to finally get a Thursday nighter that should be. I don't want to jinx it. Should be a great game. Okay, let's keep rolling. And Eddie Sanchez just saying home teams win on Thursday night this season, as they have been. Let's keep rolling right along, and we're going to have to keep a brisk pace. I will help push us along. First off, we have Bills at Jets. Man, so 24-10, but took a couple losses on the Bills. Team total over. Took a loss on the Bills covering last week. Made me look like a fool. Bills took it in the bottom mouth again. Open Jets minus 7.5. Some money trickled in on the Bills. Now it's minus 7s. Total open very low at 36.5. Now 37. By the way, Donnie, we smashed that over in the Bills-Bears. Great capping. God damn, that felt good. It was just so easy. Peterman giving those pick sixes. I wish I didn't spoil it by making the extra bets, but whatever. Down 28-0 at the half, lost 41-9. Now, they out-yarded the Bears 264-190. Peterman looked terrible with the picks. 31 for 49, 189 yards, 3 picks. Ivory went 7 for 36. McCoy was nowhere to be found. 10 carries for 10 yards. Pryor and Benjamin aren't a terrible receiving combo. The Jets put up 6 points in that loss in Miami. Darnold looked like a rookie. 21 for 39, 229 yards, 0 picks, 4 interceptions. I remember Whale Capper thought this might be the start of his run towards Rookie of the Year. It certainly didn't take that turn. Their defense played strong, but Darnold kept shooting himself in the foot. Bills at Jets. Jets 7-point favorites. What are you thinking here, Donnie?
It's amazing. It's astoundingly bad offensive football game as you set up, Jimmy. But we were on the right side of that on Sunday in the over. And the only thing that could hurt us was the simple fact that the game was getting away from the Bills, and you knew they had to score touchdowns as opposed to field goals. But hey, look, it's a 37-point game. It hit into the 50s. We covered that easily. But what do you say about the Buffalo Bills? All right, let's just say Josh Allen's throwing passes in practice this week and he's ready to go. Who is he throwing to and who's running the football? Chris Ivory goes to the hospital with a shoulder injury, so I doubt he's going to play this week. Shady McCoy looks like he's aged like, Benjamin Button out there miraculously over the past 3 to 4 weeks where he's so slow and just can't get out of his own way. Kelvin Benjamin is a monster wide receiver that would rather, catch donuts in the flats than footballs. I don't know who's scoring from the Buffalo side because I know the Jets can play pretty good defense. But on the flip side, you're right. What did the Jets do What did the Jets do the past 2 weeks? I know their wide receivers have been banged up, completely inept versus the Dolphins, completely inept versus the Chicago Bears. And say what you want, watching back on film that Buffalo Bills game versus the Chicago Bears, the Bills defense wasn't a problem in that game. It's a problem when the other team scores 2 to 3 times on your offense and then continuously on punt returns, setting you up in the opposing 50 and, inside the red zone. The Bills defense wasn't bad. As much as I like the over 37 last week, Jimmy, I actually like the under in this football game with the Jets because I don't see anybody moving the football here.
I hear you. I absolutely hear you. I mean, it's not been the Bills' defense at fault all season long. It's been their offense at fault. Wow, it's so dangerous taking these low totals, Donnie.
But I won't. As I say that, Jimmy, where I like the under, I in no way, shape, or form will ever bet an under 37. But just my opinion on it, I won't be on the over. So I'll just say, you know what, I like the under, but I would never take an under 37 because you see it so many times. Quarterback play is so bad for Buffalo. They give up 2 touchdowns on offense, and that blows it over the total.
Exactly. It's a dangerous total. Ziggy Ball's joining us, my man G&G, D, Bankroll, Gregoire, Jay Peach. What a great group. Let's keep rolling. Sorry that we had to talk about Bills, Jets after Panthers, Steelers, but that's the schedule. Let's keep rolling along. Falcons at Browns. 4-4 Falcons, 1-2 on the road. Browns 2-6-1, 2-2-1 at home. Open Falcons -4, and it's gone up. There's -4 still, but there's 4.5s, there's 5s. The total is creeped up from 50. There's some 51s on the board. The Falcons looked awesome on that bye, winning 38-14 in Washington. It was another excellent breakdown, I felt, by the three of us. Dan Quinn had that defense ready to go. Also, Alex Smith was incapable of taking advantage of the weakness in the Falcons secondary. I just loved every second of that. But for some reason, I did not have the Falcons on my card last week, so I'm a little embarrassed about that. This Falcons secondary, I'm curious to hear what you think of it, because they bent but didn't break in that game. They still allowed 287 yards. They allowed a TD. They got a pick. Jack Crawford got 2 sacks, taking a little bit of the pressure off of Grady Jarrett. And my God, what about Whale Capper's call on Adrian Peterson? Wasn't that incredibly spot on? After all that, Whale Capper was saying, take the under on the prop for yards. Peterson gets 9 carries for 17 yards. Shout out to the Whale Capper. Matt Ryan goes 26 for 38, 350 yards, 4 TDs. Tevin Coleman, Ito Smith, both averaged over 6 yards a carry. Julio Jones, another massive day. The Browns, though, were gashed by the Chiefs. Chiefs averaged 8.6 yards per play, but they've been doing that to everybody. Mayfield looked good, 29 for 42, 297 yards. Chubb went 22 for 85 yards. Duke Johnson looked good. Njoku has not turned into the tight end that we imagined him. It also looks to me like Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward are getting tired, or maybe hitting that wall that young players hit. This is an interesting spot. The Falcons, to me, look like a playoff squad, and I think they can turn it on. I think Dan Quinn's had enough time with this secondary to get them rolling. Falcons at Browns. Falcons need to cover 5. Looks feasible to me. What are you thinking here, Donnie?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the same things week in and week out with the Browns. They're not good at winning football games overall, and now you're going to put them right back in the sharp side of 3.5. You open up, and now it's 4.5 across the board. So you're expecting the Browns to be competitive and possibly win the football game, or sure win the football game, because if you're leaning on just taking 3 or 4, you expect that game to be really close or tight in the fourth quarter one way or another. But how do you attack Atlanta, Jimmy? How the teams embarrassed Atlanta early in the season while they were banged up and injured, especially in their secondary? Vertical passing games and getting it deep. That's not what the Cleveland Browns do. The Cleveland Browns want to say, you know what? We just want to lean on our somewhat average offensive line, because Nick Chubb does look good as a running back. We want to slow the game down. It's a dome team. We want to get physical because they're built on speed edge rushers. You saw the same thing last week with the Washington Redskins, Jimmy, that we talked about. They're not going to attack Atlanta the way you need to beat them, by getting aerial and throwing vertical. That's not even what the Cleveland Browns do. I love the way Atlanta played last week. And if you're looking at Atlanta's offense, you can say there are some similarities to actually how the Kansas City Chiefs operate. You have the fast running back out of the backfield that can both, Ito Smith back there can catch, as well as Tevin Coleman, similar to what Kareem Hunt can do out of the backfield. Then you have big-time wide receiver weapons all the way across the field to stretch out that Cleveland defense. I don't think Cleveland matches up very well. The only thing that you might catch on your side is if you see, Jimmy, maybe 40-degree weather, 35-degree weather with a dome team, heavy, windy conditions where maybe Cleveland can slow the game down. But I see almost the same type of game because Kansas City has a horrible defense. They really couldn't exploit that last week. And I think Atlanta's defense actually is better overall than the Kansas City defense, even though 85% of the early wagers coming in on the Atlanta Falcons. I can't blame them here. I can't go with the Cleveland Browns.
Whale Capper saying Donnie nailing it. Bill Butlicker says Falcons roll. Jay the Gifted, Falcons win by 10+. That Fire TV, Falcons is a gift. Bill Butlicker saying Falcons are a full 7 points better than the Browns. Easy money. DT Doug says I feel -4 is a layup for Atlanta. This will be the first move that I'm going to be close to making. This is the first angle that I see quite simply makes sense. What do you think about this total here, Donnie?
Yeah, I mean, the total, it's about right, 50.5. They're not going to, Atlanta's not going to play at a breakneck speed, sort of. I wouldn't even say, because, I mean, they don't run no huddle type offenses, but the speed of the offense, the more direct of the offense that Kansas City has, they're not going to go that fast, but you have Matt Ryan. He's going to be able to throw the football. They're going to put up points. You know, I mean, overs with Atlanta-type teams and Cleveland, because Cleveland doesn't play. I don't know where this whole mantra got, like, oh, Cleveland's defense, because they played New Orleans really tight one game. They have a tough defense. Their defense is Swiss cheese out there for most weeks, and you're dealing with a 50. I still would lean on the over because I think Atlanta is going to be destined in this football game, Jimmy, to have 28-plus points. So, therefore, it's going to lend itself to an over.
I think so. But if we're looking at what is the most simple angle that makes the most sense or that we could have the most confidence in, I feel like I'd prefer the Falcons. I don't even want to say the team's name. I prefer Atlanta. But I love that breakdown. And what do you think about Njoku, Donnie? I had such high hopes for him.
I know.
Is he not the tight end that we imagined he was going to be?
He should be such a mismatch. And you didn't even blame him when Cleveland took him because he said, you know what? This league is advancing towards severe mismatches with an athletic tight end that can run. I know he doesn't catch all that well, but I just feel like he's not being he shouldn't have 3 or 4 targets or 2 catches for 9. That's not what he's a big play tight end. He's not a plotter. Why aren't we running more vertical routes, getting him matched up with safeties and one-on-one? I just think they use him completely wrong. But then again, when you have Hugh Jackson fired, and when you also have Todd Haley fired, and you have my man Freddie Kitchens, the running backs coach, calling plays, does it get any better for Cleveland with David Njoku? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Falcons make a lot of sense to me. Let's keep rolling. Yeah. Saints at Bengals. 4-0 Saints on the road. 7-1 overall. Donnie, I have a ton of love for how you handled the market move last week. It was a giant market move, which has to concern. But you showed no concern at all. You didn't show the slightest bit of fear when the market went against you. It begs the question to everybody, who do you want to ride with, the market or Donnie Rightside? Give me Donnie every day of the week. Great call, Saints over Rams. This game, though, against the Bengals 3-1 at home, open Saints -4.5. Now they're 5s on the board. The total opened at 55, and it's dropped a point. There's 54s across the board. Breeze went 25 for 346 yards, 4 TDs, 0 picks, 137 passer rating. Michael Thomas, my God, 12 for 211 yards. What a beast. Kamara went 19 for 82 for 2 TDs. Ingram pitched in 9 for 33. Now the Bengals are coming off a bye. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this vaunted Saints offense. And they have issues. Already was talked about A.J. Green. Maybe, I guess we're going to get more and more knowledge about A.J. Green as we move forward, but he's banged up. Vontae's perfect banged up. Then you have Ross and Bernard dealing with injuries. Mixon's knee, to me, if you look at the numbers, he does not look sound. 2 weeks to plan, but this defense allowed 34 points to the Bucs in Week 8, 45 points to the Chiefs in Week 7. Can they do anything to slow the Saints down, Donnie?
Healthy A.J. Green with this line, all in on the Cincinnati Bengals. And you know me, I love the New Orleans Saints. I think they have the perfect offense, and I think they're actually going to end up being the number 1 seed overall in the NFC when it's all said and done. But when you look at NFL games and you look at spots and you look what comes through, Cincinnati Bengal rested and ready. And I'm going to start the cap up by saying A.J. Green is healthy, which he's not. He's probably not going to play in this football game. But if he's there, that's the way you want to attack the New Orleans Saints through the secondary. They have a problem with stopping the pass. They have a decent running game decent run defense. But looking from a spot perspective, physical Washington Redskins. They pounded them, but a physical team the Skins are. Physical on the road, not more physical defenses out there than the Ravens. You play them. You go on the road to Minnesota, physical defense. You come home and you play a barn burner versus the Rams. Sometime in the schedule, you have to take a deep breath, and you're going outdoors to play out of conference, and you're going to lay points on the road. Terrible spot for the New Orleans Saints. But I have to backtrack that there. A healthy A.J. Green can really exploit that New Orleans defense. He's not going to be there. You're not just going to line up and run the football with the Red Rocket over there and say, you know what, he can throw us to a victory is Tyler Boyd. He's going to expose that entire New Orleans regime and bring it down. It's going to be the Mixon show. You're going to hand him the ball 45 times. That's not going to happen here. I probably won't be on the football game because I still don't like the spot for the New Orleans Saints. But no A.J. Green means no Cincinnati Bengals bet for me. I know they're rested and ready coming off a bye. Do they have to win the football game? Yes. But you have to attack through the air for New Orleans. Take A.J. Green away. I'm not so sure what type of game plan we're looking at here from the Cincinnati Bengals, Jimmy.
I agree. I think that's a great breakdown. Jay Peach saying Bengals money line. Ziggy Balls, I like the Bengals in this spot. Michael Irvelina liking the over. Jay Peach saying the Bengals will be ready. A lot of guys liking the over, but God damn, I think you're absolutely right. The Saints have been in some very, very tough games. Bengals have had 2 weeks to rest up and prepare. At this point, I'm not comfortable with either side. What about the total? It's being bet down a point, down to 54. Can we trust the Saints offense? And if the Saints get the lead, are they just going to pound the ball with Kamara and Ingram?
Yep. No, I think you're right on there, Jimmy. A lot of it hinges on, like, AJ Green's a top 5 wide receiver who can bust the game open. Like, if this game is played and he's healthy, what would you say, Jimmy? 8 for like 130 and 2 scores for AJ Green. And here comes Cincinnati. But he takes the balance away. He can't stretch the deal. You're leaning on John Ross in this game? I mean, what are we doing here with a Cincinnati perspective when you're just going to take their best weapon out of the game and act like they're not going to miss a beat here? I would lean on the under in this situation since it's outdoors. Light wind expected in Cincinnati, but still a cooler atmosphere. But, Jimmy, I think you nailed it right on the head. You're going on the road. Are they going to throw it 50 times against Cincinnati? No. Once they get the lead in this football game in the second half, you're going to see a lot of Ingram, a lot of Kamara, a lot of dump-offs, and a lot of clock movement. Give me the under in this game.
I think that the under makes a lot of sense, especially with the Green injury. That is the second play so far of all of our breakdowns that I find very appealing. Let's keep rolling here, Donnie. And this is the one game that I have an asterisk beside. I try so hard not to, but I have an asterisk beside the Redskins here. Redskins at Buccaneers. Open Redskins -1.5. The Redskins have the debacle at home against Atlanta, and now the Bucs are 3-point favorites. We've seen a 4.5-point line move on Bet Online. Redskins looked awful being torched by the Falcons. Can their defense regroup and stop another good offense in the Bucs? The Falcons had 491 total yards. The Skins looked awful. Ha-ha Dix didn't help. Smith, as we predicted, was not able to take advantage of the backups in the Atlanta secondary. We've already talked about the Buccaneers all year having a terrible secondary. Is this another situation that Smith won't be able to take advantage of? AP was awful going 9 for 17 yards. Will he regroup? Josh Doxson continues to play poorly. The Bucs defense holds them back. Fitzpatrick has to do everything because their rushing game is being terrible. Barber went 11 carries for 31 yards. Can you imagine not having opportunities to run the ball when the defense knows that Fitzpatrick's going to be firing nonstop, that they're going to be nickel packages, dime packages nonstop, and yet you still can't run the ball? To me, I mean, obviously, and No Easy 562 nails it, and Underdog nails it both about the Redskins' injuries. No Easy saying Washington injuries on the O-line going to be an issue moving forward. But to me, I look at this and I think the Redskins can bounce back. What do you think about this spot, Donnie?
Here's the problem that you're going to have if you're going to look back, and it's amazing because we talked about it on a couple shows already. I know everybody, probably the first line you looked at is like, wait a second, that line opens up at a pick'em and now is a -3 towards Tampa Bay. Here's the problem when you're the Washington Redskins. You're going to run into the same exact issue that you had with the Atlanta Falcons last week. There's the last 5 games for Washington. 19 points versus New Orleans, 23 versus Carolina, 20 versus Dallas, 20 versus the Giants, 14 versus Atlanta. If you're putting up 20, Tampa Bay is going to it doesn't even matter who's playing in the game. If you go into this and say, we're going to run the football, we're going to play good defense, Tampa Bay's beating you because Tampa Bay will be in the high 20s in this football game. If you think the Washington Redskins can top the 30-point mark in this game, then you should bet them and take them. If you don't think Washington can get the 30 points, Tampa Bay is going to beat them. The one thing Tampa Bay can do when healthy is they have a decent front four. The one thing Washington can't do anymore is lean on their offensive line. They're all injured and pulling people off the street. So not only do you have deficiency in your offensive line, Jimmy, you have calls on the road when it's loud where the offensive lineman doesn't even really know the playbook and saying, what does check 32 mean? Hut, hike, and there's a sack right away. Alex Smith can't expose that secondary because he only throws 3-yard outs. Adrian Peterson's not going to be able to run the football when you don't have an offensive line to block for you. And the one thing you can lean on at the end of the night, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will score points. They're going to beat the Washington Redskins this week.
Wow. Interesting. I guess you've talked me off the Skins because you're right. If the Buccaneers are going to put up 30 points, they're going to win this football game. The Skins just aren't going to be able to fight fire with fire. Marty Muerte, though, says Redskins bounce back for sure. They had a bad game last week, and they have injuries, but they're still better than the Bucs. Marty Muerte says AP runs all day. And Mikey T 1980 says Donnie spitting facts. Gregoire says the Skins will have Fitz with Fitzmagic on Sunday. I'm taking the Bucs in a close game. Jezzy's girl says Smith throws dinks and dunks. Love Tampa Bay. I find the Buccaneers a very difficult team to love and to trust with my money. But I guess the way you've broken this game down, maybe this is a spot. I have taken the asterisk off of the Washington Redskins. Let's move to a very exciting game here. And Kings Love 1 saying Tampa Bay beats Washington easily. Patriots at Titans. Open Patriots -6.5. Now there's some -7s on the board. The total opened at 46.5. The Patriots look dominant at home and average on the road. The Patriots had a nice mix of run and pass versus the Packers. They're getting 310 yards through the air, 123 yards on the ground. Their defense continues to improve. Their secondary held Rodgers to 24 for 43, 259 yards, and 2 TDs. I was on the under in this game, and it was a wonderful cash where I was calm and relaxed all game long, which rarely happens. The Titans are on a short week. We know we don't like backing teams in this situation, but that was a beatdown of the Cowboys that has to give them momentum and some belief in themselves. Mariota looked healthy, 21 for 29, 240 yards, 2 TDs. Lewis, Henry, Mariota all look good running the ball. 9 different players caught passes. Their big boy stopped Zeke, forced Dak to beat them, which he can't do. They got 5 sacks. Now, this is a much, much, much different situation with the Patriots because you're dealing with Tom Brady. And I don't want to have a bias that I've always had where after I win with a team and love watching it, something in me wants me to go back to the well, and I have to stop and remember that this is a new game and a new situation. But the Patriots are average on the road, Donnie. The Titans have momentum, and I'm getting 7 points. I want to go back to the Titans, Donnie. What do you think here, Patriots and Titans?
Yeah, I think it's key on the number you're going to get, Jimmy. 6.5, you probably say, ooh, you know what? That's kind of tough. But then you're looking at getting 7 points with a home team that's playing good football and playing competitive football, usually on the season outside of the Baltimore Ravens game. You're getting an honest effort out of the Tennessee Titans, especially at home. And what do you not like about the New England Patriots? You called it, Jimmy, on the road, blown out at Jacksonville. Horrible effort versus Detroit. Now, they did get healthy, and you have to parse that in. They had 3 straight home games, but they went on the road to play the Chicago Bears. And you said, hey, look, man, they handled their business 38-31. They also needed 2 special teams / defensive touchdowns to pull that football game out and beat the Bears. Maybe a little bit of an emotional letdown. You finally beat Green Bay, or I shouldn't say finally, but you beat Green Bay on Sunday Night Football. The nation was watching. GOAT versus GOAT. Is the better football team New England? Yes. But you're going on the road, and if you're going to lay a touchdown, meaning you have to win by double digits on the road against a team that always likes to play football games close as is. If I'm getting 7, I like the whole public avalanche on New England, betting them on the road. I'll take the 7. 6.5, maybe I lay off the game here, but I would try to find a way to back the Tennessee Titans in the situation because, look, I don't want any piece of backing a team going into Foxborough, but you take them out of Foxborough and put them on the road, I might be interested in getting 7 points there.
I am very interested in getting the 7 points. Tom Marino says, I think New England is a different team on the road now with Gordon and Edelman than at the beginning of the year. That is a good point. And he says Titans secondary is bad. What do you think about this total? Opened up 46.5. I have a feeling that there was a corner turned in London, and this offense is now going to be able to put up 20-plus points in the game. And if the Titans put up 20-plus points, don't you hit the over? What do you think of this total, Donnie?
Yeah, Brady back game 46.5. You know, if they get it rolling and really turn it, because how do you think the style is going to be in this football game? Do you think the Titans are going to dictate it and say we're going to play this game 17-14? It's probably going to be played on Brady's terms, where Tennessee's just trying to catch up. I'm not talking about 17-3, 21-3, but just playing from behind there, where Tennessee can't get real comfortable and say, hey, we're up 10-3 at the half. I don't see that the case. And anytime you have Brady in the game, it's the mid-40s. You saw it last night. Game's just destined to go over. You have the best quarterback of all time. He's going to be able to put up points and move the football. You would think Tennessee would be able to counter it. I want no piece of the under in this game.
I agree. In fact, the more we talk about it, the more I find the over more enticing than the Titans. And let me ask you this, Donnie. Do you think there's a chance that maybe a -7.5 gets on this board?
No, I can't imagine a 7.5. I think those would be scooped up, relatively quickly. But when you look at games overall, Jimmy, that New England has played, Indianapolis 38-24, KC 43-40, Chicago, we saw Chicago, not the greatest offensive team, 38-31. Take the Buffalo game out and just throw it out the window because the Bills just don't play competitive football on offense. Then you get back to Green Bay, 31-17. And in that game when we talked about maybe looking at the under, you needed fumbles in the red zone, fourth down stops, and they still got the 48-foot points in that game. It's going over.
I loved your breakdown of the Patriots-Packers game. That was the reason why I went on the under, thinking about what you were saying. We talked about when the total is that high, and what was it, 56.5, I think? When the total's that high, all you need is a couple red zone stops. I sat back, watched that game with the beverage, got that red zone stop, got another red zone stop, and I was pumping my fist, Donnie. Thank you for getting me on that game. Great capping, great work. Thank you. Drinks on me the next time we hang out, Donnie, because you've been putting money.
Next time to Costa Rica, yes.
You've been putting money in my pocket. Let's keep rolling here. I think that over is very enticing. Let's see what some guys have to say here. No Easy says leaning under Pats Titans. I'd love to hear a couple notes if you have time, No Easy, as to why you like that. Underdog says, I love New England. Did you see their first drive? Fastest playing ever. That was a concern, I admit, during the game when I'd see 10 or 15 seconds go off the clock in between New England Patriots plays. So that is another thing that would push me towards this over. And I'm surprised there's been no movement on the over. Tomor says, I lean over. Titans offensive line is good. Titans might try to run and slow the game down. Ziggy Ball says, Vrabel knows the Patriots well. Malcolm Butler's on the Titans, but Titans on a short week. New coach, short week. Bill Butler says, bye, Donnie, a lap dance. Whale Capper says, it was a great read, and Donnie is spot on for this game as well, in my opinion. God, it feels good being, Donnie, I had a tough start to the year. And it just feels so goddamn good to get some wins.
Look, Jimmy, just turn. All you have to do in the NFL is turn into a procrastinator. Sit back like I tell you, and I'm glad you're listening to this because this is great advice. Sit back all week, gather it. We go to bed one night. Ooh, I like the under. You wake up the next morning. Maybe I like the over. By the end of the week, you get that clear picture. Like, the opening of The Simpsons where it just opens up like, that's what you see. It was Friday and Saturday. Like, you know what? It's clear in the NFL. We're about to make some money.
It is, and it's been great. It's been great. Let's keep rolling. Jaguars at Colts. This is a very interesting spot, and we touched on it a little bit before or at the beginning of this program when I said both teams are off buys just like last night. I feel like that leads towards offense, and I feel the same thing here, but not. But let's break it down. Jaguars at Colts. Colts have not been great at home, 1-2. Open Colts -3, a 2.5, a -2.5 has now hit the board. The total opened at 47. Now they're 47s on the board. As I said, both teams coming off buys. Can the Jags turn their season around? Can Maroney get Bortles out of his funk? He looked better in London. 286 yards, 1 TD. He had thrown for 210 yards in those previous two games. They need a healthy and Fournette and Bouye. Will either of them be good to go this week? This is stuff we have to figure out and learn throughout the week. The Colts have played better than expected. Luck is throwing for 7 TDs and 0 picks in the last 2 weeks, albeit against weak competition, but that Bills defense is pretty strong. Now the Colts defense has looked very weak. Can Frank Reich put a game plan together off of the bye? We don't know if this is something that Frank Reich can do. Tomar says, how can you back the Colts? DT Doug says, this will be my last shot with Jacksonville. I'm very interested to hear your breakdown of this game, Donnie. Jaguars at Colts.
Look, maybe they get rested and ready, the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? Maybe Bortles can just play a decent football game. You get Fournette back. That Bouye injury is big. You're going to want to keep an eye on that as this week goes along. But I'm still thinking Indianapolis is a fraud, Jimmy. And the reason being, look at us play competitive. You lost to the Jets, who I don't think are very good. The Buffalo Bills, I don't take any credence in that game. Just throw it out the window. You beat the Oakland Raiders. Congratulations, right? Now you're going to step into a team that's had a bye. Maybe they fought each other during the entire bye week and got it out of their system after getting beat by the Philadelphia Eagles. I want to take the points in the situation and say, you know what? Jacksonville's 3-5. Let's have some pride out here and play some defense and run the football against this Indianapolis Colts team. Is Andrew Luck a very good quarterback? Yes, he is. but the stuff that Indianapolis does on offense and what what the Jacksonville Jaguars can do on defense, if they're healthy, they should be able to dominate this football game on turf. And I'm getting points. I'm not a believer in what Indianapolis is doing right now. I'm not a believer they should be laying points in a lot of situations. It's one of those, I don't want to say last stand efforts that you want to take Jacksonville, but rest it off the bye. I expect a great defensive effort from this team, and I'll take the 3 points here on the road.
That is a very good breakdown, and I am almost completely sold. Summerlink says Colts are better than Jacksonville at this point in the season, but Tomor says, how can you back the Colts? They have no defense. Remember, those last 2 games are Raiders and Bills. Underdog says, love the Colts.
Flip it over to the other side, Jimmy. Like, you lose to Kansas City on the road. No shame. They got busted. It was in the rain. You lose to Dallas, who's playing good football. And Dallas sometimes can put together a good game plan at home, but that was a bad football game. You lose to Houston, who's a good football team. You lose to the Eagles in London close. Sooner, like that 4-game schedule, where you say, well, at least you played some formidable opponents. Indianapolis seems like they're just skating on playing like preseason football game type teams, and now you're going to get smacked in the mouth from this defense, or what you think should be a tough defense. I like Jacksonville. You know what? I wasn't looking that much into this game, but the more we talk about it early in the week, let's circle Jacksonville, see if I can find a way to take them later in the week here, Jimmy.
I agree completely. This wasn't a spot that was screaming at me at all until we broke this game down. Very exciting. Our man Noli Knows is on his way to Vegas right now, halfway there to take the under in the MAC action tonight. Much love to you, Noli Knows. Thank you for all the support and input you put on our shows, and drive safely, my man. Enjoy the night. I will be cheering heavy for you. I haven't made a move on that game yet. Underdog says, who's running the ball for Jacksonville? Okay, first off, are we going to say that Bouye is not going to be in the lineup pretty much, and that Fournette could be? Is that how we stand right now?
Exactly. I think you're more likely to have Fournette in this game than you do Bouye at corner.
Greg Wise says it's hard to take road Bortles. I'm leaning the Colts to cover, but it's hard to take road Bortles against bad defense or against good defenses. We don't have that here with the Colts. The more we talk about it, the more. And Bortles may have turned the corner in London, and he wouldn't be the first player or team to have done that this year. We just saw the Titans do it. Are you not going to be afraid of backing the Jaguars and Bortles because of the weakness of the Colts secondary?
No, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of usually fading road Bortles. I mean, I agree in that situation, but I just look at the way when you come out of the bye, it's still a Tom Coughlin organization. I think they can rally the troops and say, look, take a deep breath, because if they do lose this game, now you're looking at Jimmy, everybody walking the plank and everybody's for themselves. We can't win anything. I don't give a damn. I'm playing for myself. But I think you can have that one game where you say, you know what? Second half of the season starts right now. Let's go out and give an honest effort. And I'm getting 3. I like that about this game, because I don't think it's going to be a runaway either way. I'll lean on defense. I can see it being a close game, almost one of those coin flip type games, because, yes, it is hard to win on the road. I just like the points in this spot, and I think you're going to get a very honest effort out of the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game, Jimmy.
I agree. I've been slowing us down a bit. We need to speed up. But quick, can you just touch on, did you have any feel for this total? Opened at 47.5, was bet down to 47?
It just seems like 47. Jacksonville's not really a fast offense. And if the way Jacksonville I know can play defense, I think there's going to be a lot more checkdowns from the Indianapolis side of the football. Andrew Luck does have the ability to run, to pick up those 3rd and 4s with his legs, to keep the clock moving. I like the under 47 a little bit better than the over in this one here, Jimmy.
I can see that, but I'm uncomfortable. I feel like this is a pretty sharp number right now, and I'm kind of uncomfortable either way. I find the Jaguars very appealing. Let's keep rolling right along, and we're going to have to be quick, and I will lead us. You've been doing great. I've been slowing us down. Lions at Bears. Lions 1-3 on the road, 3-5 overall. Another spot that you nailed on the head when you said this Tate trade may send a message to this dressing room. Even though they brought in snacks, it was a very strange 24 or 48 hours for this Lions team. Open at Bears -5. Now -6.5, even a couple -7s. The total opened at 46.5. It's been bet down. 45s, 44.5. Bears coming off a demolishing of the Bills, but did the Bears play well, or did the Bills play awful? The Lions are coming to town after a thorough beating by the Vikings, 24-9. Kerryon Johnson goes 20 for 59 yards over his last 2 weeks. I was about to anoint him as I was saying the Lions finally have a running back. We finally have moved on past the Barry Sanders era. And man, I was a little too quick to jump all over that. The question is, did the trade gut this team? Did the Bears play? There's so many questions. Did the Bears play well, or were the Bills just god awful? Can the Lions come back after this strange message? This is an interesting game. And while I'm saying this, I'm surprised the Bears are this big of a favorite. Lions at Bears. What do you think, Donnie?
Aha, Jimmy, this is one of those spots that we like to talk about, right? You saw last week, and I said, you know what? I love Minnesota. And they cleaned house, 10 sacks in that football game. And there's something to be said about taking your leading wide receiver away, who's also your outlet. So when everything breaks down, he's always wide open 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. Or the blitz is coming, little hand signal to Golden Tate. I'm just going to throw a rocket screen, pick up 5 or 6 yards to back off that rush. That was the first game Stafford didn't have it, and it was an absolute travesty out there. But let's take a look at the defensive side of the football. Detroit wasn't bad. Look, they gave up an offensive touchdown where Stafford lateraled it back and it went back for 6 points. I thought their defense held up very well, and this is one of those buy low, sell highs. You had a whole week to decompress. Golden Tate's not here. Look, the way we got attacked this week, this can't happen again. Let's shore up the front line. And also, the Chicago Bears didn't have to do much versus the Buffalo Bills last week. This is one of those division game matchups where you saw Detroit get embarrassed last week. So your instant thought is this, Jimmy. Wait a second. If Khalil Mack plays, that front line, the Bears are going to destroy that front line. 10 sacks again. Doesn't work like that in the NFL. They're going to adjust their game plan. Now they know they don't have Golden Tate. They're going to see what works in and out. I would wait on this football game. If you can get 7 for the Detroit Lions, which might pop up here, I like that because everybody's loving the Bears on destruction and terror last week. Everybody's laughing at the Detroit Lions. This is one of those spots where teams adjust and play football. It's a division game. It's going to be cold weather. I think Stafford might have a little bit up his sleeve here, and I think that the Detroit Lions defense can keep the Chicago Bears under wraps. I like the points here.
I agree completely. It's too many points. It's too many points. Do you agree with this market movement towards the total going down? It's 2 points down at some books. It's now at 4. There's 44.5 on the board. Do you think this is an under waiting to happen?
Yeah, I think because you're probably going to – I'm not looking at the weather. Let me just see up there. 38 degrees, Jimmy, about 14, 15 miles an hour, swirling winds in Chicago. It's two teams that know each other well, two decent defenses now that they're healthy. I agree with the line movement going a little bit lower here, Jimmy.
I think so, too. Whale Capper says couple free points backing Detroit also. Do you think that Kerryon Johnson can come back into form? Is there an injury or something that we don't know about? Why do you think he's been so terrible?
I just think they were dialed. I think the Vikings were just dialed up last week. You know, everything went right for the defense. They collapsed the pocket repeatedly. And when you have a quarterback, doesn't matter if you're an all-pro guy. If you get sacked 10 times, you saw it at the end of the football game where Matthew Stafford just like lateraling balls in the middle of the field of play. He wanted no piece of that game. We'll see if they can rebound. But I think he could bounce back in this game. Look, Bears have a really good defense. We're not taking anything away. But I just look at Trubisky in that offense. Like you say, hey, they scored, the X amount of points last week. That was all set up by the defense in that football game versus a team, the Buffalo Bills, that quit.
I want to move on because we're tight for time, but Tomer says I've watched Stafford play at Soldier Field for years. He's almost always garbage. Do you feel like that is going to be part of your capping here, the fact that Stafford's had trouble at Soldier Field in the past?
I mean, not really. And I actually like it even more that they played horrifically on the road versus Minnesota, which is crazy. Like, wait, I watched that game. I'm going right on the Chicago Bears. I hear that. But in the NFL, you bet spots and teams bounce back from week to week to week. And all it takes is one fumble to go in your direction in this football game as opposed to the opposing direction. It's a division game. You have a competent football team in Detroit. They're not 1-7. They're going to give an honest effort. And I'm calling it like saying I can get the 7 points at this time. So maybe they don't have to win the football game and just play it close. But I know how teams read and react in the divisions. It's going to be a close football game. Nobody's running away with this one.
Let's move on to Cardinals at Chiefs. Cardinals off of a bye, but will that help? Is there any kind of game plan that Stephen Wilkes can put together to slow down this Chiefs team? They put 35-plus points up in their sleep. Open Chiefs minus 16.5. Now a mix of minus 16.5s and minus 17s. The total opened at 49. It's being bet down slightly at 49.5. How can the Cardinals do anything here at Arrowhead Stadium, Donnie?
I don't know. And that's the best analysis I can give about the Arizona Cardinals, Jimmy. I don't know how they're going to process this game because they're just walking into a buzzsaw where you have to go toe-to-toe with an offense that's been historic. Like, they're just as bad as Buffalo's offense, Jimmy. Think about that. Like, you're going to go into a team that is going to hang 30-plus points on you automatically, maybe even more. So you're saying in this game that, you're going to compete 41-17, looks like this type of game. Is it one of those where Andy Reid just gets bored in the second half and doesn't want to get another coach fired and takes his foot off the gas pedal, doesn't kick field goals or try to score touchdowns at the end of the game? I don't know how you just say, well, hey, 17's too much in the NFL. It's not too much when one team struggles to snap the football while the other one is on a record-setting performance on the offense and they're at home. I don't really want any piece of this game. I probably won't be betting it, but I certainly won't just be saying, hey, I'll take the 17 and live with it.
Yeah, I feel uncomfortable with the spot too. Bill Butlicker says, bet the farm on Chiefs team total over. We certainly can't trust the Cardinals to put up points, even against this weak Chiefs defense. What do you think about that Chiefs team total over?
No, that's what I said. Like, they're going to be. I'm surprised. I don't know what would be the total actually be. Would it be like 31.5, I guess, or something like that? If we're looking at somewhere the total, if they're getting 17 points in that range,
yeah,
they're going to score over 30 points. It's just what they do. Like, even if they stop scoring in the fourth quarter, that means they're already in the 40s.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice spot. And I will.
Good weather too, by the way, Jimmy. Looks like light wind, mid-50s, so you're not going to get some ridiculous windy conditions and freezing cold. There are going to be scoring conditions there.
Very interesting. We all remember what happened the last giant spread. It blew up in people's faces. The Bills ended up winning 29-0 at the Vikings.
Yeah, yes, they did. Yeah,
Chargers at Raiders. Open Chargers minus 9.5. Now there are minus 10s. Total open at 50.5, and it's a mix of that and 50s. How much lower can the Raiders go? They just let an undrafted quarterback on his first start have the greatest first game to a career in the history of our sport in their 34-3 loss. They get extra time to prepare. Is that what Gruden is doing, or is he preparing by alienating people? The Chargers looked awesome winning 25-17 at CenturyLink, taking care of business in Seattle's no easy task. Wait until they get Bosa back. This Chargers team is very dangerous. Do they smash the Raiders in the mouth?
Yeah, you know what? Just looking at this game right off the bat without getting too deep into it, I think the Oakland Raiders have quit. It's pretty apparent. They're trading away. They're just cutting guys out of nowhere, pass rushers. They can't seem to – they got hammered by a 49ers team starting a guy that most people have never even heard of, and he made him look like Joe Montana. In this game, I'm not even looking full game, Jimmy. I just think the Chargers bounce them to start. I can see 17-3 at the half, covering easily for the Chargers. They're way better than the Oakland Raiders. I don't see much of a resistance, but I just don't want that backdoor where you tend to see the Chargers play late and it's 31-20. They don't care, and the Raiders come through the back door. I think the Chargers mean business right off the bat and bounce this team and be up at least double digits at the half.
I think that's a great call. I think the Chargers' first half is something that you can really sort of, I know you're not, but count on them coming out quickly and then taking the foot off their gas. I agree. Chargers first half seems like a very, very great play. Let's move on to Dolphins at Packers. Dolphins 1-3 on the road. Packers 3-0-1 at home. Open Packers -9. Now there's -9.5, -10s. The total opened at 47. It stayed there. The Packers have been facing very tough competition, and now they get an easy one. They look good against the Patriots until late. Everyone is starting to understand that all you got to do is focus on Devontae Adams. He's the one that needs to be completely have all your attention. The Dolphins are terrible. Their defense looked good in the 13-6 win over the Jets in Miami. Osweiler goes 15 for 24 for 139 yards. We've seen the Packers play down to their level of competition, and that's my concern here. What are you thinking about this spot, Dolphins at Packers?
Yeah, you know what? I don't even know if it's about playing down the competition. The question is Miami going to be able to score? It's going to be a little bit cooler weather, and I think, that jet fuel that's coming out of Aaron Rodgers' ear right now where everybody is letting him down, sometimes that's going to come to pass, and he's just going to go off. I think this is one of those games where the Packers can run this game into the 30s, and I'm not so sure the Dolphins can keep up because I don't like the Packers' defense one bit, but I just think it's one of these spots where you should have beat the Rams. You rated it against New England. Now you have the Dolphins at home where they're not going to counterpunch. The Rams can counterpunch. Tom Brady can counterpunch. Is Brock Osweiler going to counterpunch in this football game? No way. Packers for me, blowout.
I think Packers blowout makes sense, but I also feel like the under will be in play. The Packers love the 6-minute, 7-minute drives when they don't need to put up points immediately. I love when they completely control the tempo of the game. Aaron Rodgers waits until the last second before getting the ball hiked to him. What do you think of the total here at 47.5?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Again, you're looking at the Miami offense because you're right. You're going to have to counterpunch. And who is counterpunching for the Dolphins? We'll see who lines up at wide receiver. They looked horrific last week, and I believe their only touchdown of the game came on a defensive interception. So if you're going to be in that mindset where the Dolphins are going to put up 17 points in this game, they're getting busted. Green Bay will be in the 30s in this football game, so I'm going to go over the total because I think Aaron Rodgers can have one of those bust-out games like, I'm done with it. Watch me work out here. 27 for 31 for 360 and 4 touchdowns. Let's get after it. That's what I see from Green Bay this weekend.
That makes a lot of sense. We are almost through, and we're a little over time, so let's quickly touch on these last games. Seahawks at Rams. Open Rams minus 8.5. Now minus 10. The total opened at 51.5. It's stuck at 50. Rams got a wake-up call from the Saints. Their defense was gashed. Saints put up 487 yards on them. Seahawks played the Rams very tough last time these teams met at CenturyLink. Line is a minus 10, and that's a ton of points, Donnie. What are you thinking here, Seahawks at Rams?
Yeah, line's so high, it actually scares me a little bit by saying, you know what, I saw it at 10. Let me grab the 10 because I know it's not going to stick around. And here we are on Tuesday talking on the show, Jimmy. That 10 is still sticking around. You know what I like even better? 51.5 taking the over. Did you watch the first game between these two? Seattle was able to do whatever they wanted with a banged-up football team on offense. Now you're a little bit healthier out there. It's going to be beautiful, pristine weather conditions in L.A., and you can just pencil the Rams in for somewhere in the mid-30s in this game. It doesn't matter who they play. They will run up and down the field. Russell Wilson will be able to play street ball in this football game to put up points. Over 51 for me, Jimmy.
That's an interesting point. We have to go, but let's just see if we can just touch for 1 second on each of these last two games, the Sunday nighter, the Monday nighter. Cowboys at Eagles. Opened at Eagles minus 4.5, now minus 6.5. We talked about whether the Cowboys were in disarray, and you said that probably wasn't the right word, and I agree with you. They looked awful last night. I think it was a waste of a first-round pick trading for Cooper. Is this now, Donnie, when the Eagles turn it on and make their run?
Yeah, Eagles bust them up on Sunday Night Football. You got a bad spot if you're the Dallas Cowboys. You played on Monday Night Football. You got beat. It's a short week. And, oh, yeah, you're going to go in to play your division rivals that are sitting and waiting on you from after 2 weeks. Now, instead of getting acquisitions, you're going to add Golden Tate. You're probably going to add Darren Sproles. You might even add Timmy Jernigan in this football game. So now you're saying they're rested, ready, and watching the Philadelphia Eagles on the couch going, ha-ha, Washington lost, Dallas lost. Now it's our time. We won the Super Bowl last year. Let's go out and make a charge. Eagles by 7 or more in this game. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then finally, the Monday nighter, Giants at 49ers. Opened up Niners minus 2.5, now minus 3. The Giants are coming off a bye. Does it matter? Will Nick Mullins, though, come crashing down to earth? That's a very big, easy possibility. Would you rather have Mullins or Eli Manning? Niners looked great last week. Here's their chance. Beat the Raiders, beat the Giants. What are you thinking here quickly on the Monday nighter? And we will hammer these games so hard on Friday.
Yeah,
what do you think, Giants, Niners?
Real quick early in the week for me. I have the same feeling that I had when Brock Osweiler had a really good game against the Bears and came crashing down the next week. Nick Mullins ain't putting together 2 straight weeks, dominating teams out there. I know the Giants stink. Get out of here with this Nick Mullins nonsense. Give me the points with the Giants.
I think that might be the call for sure. And sadly, we are going to have to shut this spot up. It's been a treat rolling with you as always. And thank you for all the insights from the chat here. John Dabb asking if there is a total that we like the most after all the totals. We did talk about that Saints-Bengals under. We also, I guess the Patriots at Titans over. I think that might be my most appealing total here. I think that's it. I would say that is the total I like. We did hear Mr. Gokster liking the Jags, Colts under. You guys, it means so much to us. This chat is so exciting. It's funny. And you guys give us such great insights. Thank you to all of you that joined us. I promise you guys, we are going to destroy this card on Friday where Whale Capper will join us. We have been very hot on this show, and it makes me so happy for us all to get some cash and get some winners, especially after the beating I took in the MLB season. Donnie, my friend, will you put a bow on this show?
Yep, we're getting cut off here, sportsbookreview.com. Check us out on Friday. We'll procrastinate. We'll make sure we get that information out to you and win some money. From Jimmy the Bag, I'm Donnie Rightside for sportsbookreview.com and The Audible. Enjoy the week.
It's